Ontario's legal cannabis retail scene will become better equipped to compete with the black market starting next month. The government announced yesterday it was doing away with the province's controversial license lottery system. Attorney General Doug Downey said the lottery system, first implemented to help the emerging retail market contend with a major supply shortage and since criticized as a cumbersome process preventing the province from staying competitive, will be eliminated as of January 1st. The government had frequently stated an interest in opening up the province's legal retail market since cannabis became legal in October of 2018. Downey said the lottery system used to issue the province's first 75 retail licenses will be scrapped, allowing stores to apply for provincial approval as they see fit. Would-be retailers will still be subjected to criminal record checks and a government approval process, but the pre-qualification measures used with the lottery system are being abolished. The new rules will also allow legal cannabis producers to enter the retail market by opening shops on their own premises. After rejecting calls for his resignation from within his party for weeks, federal Conservative leader Andrew Scheer announced yesterday that he will step down as soon as his party chooses a successor. Conservative MPs and senators had mixed reaction to his resignation and to revelations the party paid for some of Scheer's expenses, such as the additional cost of private school for his children in Ottawa.
He told us he's been thinking about this obviously since October 21st, and I think what he wanted to be able to do was make a decision, think about it, talk about it with his family. Obviously, he's not going to, tell the whole world that he's looking at what he should be doing. And so he said, he's talked with his family, he's looked at the sacrifice that he's already made. And I mean, I'm like all of you, we just heard this news as well. But he's a thoughtful person.
To give the money to the party, but I don't give the money to support the candidate, support the party, but not to support the member of the family. I pay for this, and I'm sure all members of the party, I don't know if they will make the same reflection, but it's so important when you give your money to the party, it's for the party, it's for the election, especially when you have an election, to support the candidate.
The federal government is predicting Canadian defense spending will inch closer to its NATO promises in the coming years than originally expected, though not because Ottawa is planning to send new money the military's way. All NATO members, including Canada, agreed in 2014 to work towards spending the equivalent of 2% of their gross domestic products on defense within the next decade as the military alliance sought to share the burden of defending from new threats like Russia and China. 2 years ago, when they unveiled their defense policy, the Liberals said the government would hit 1.4% by 2024-25. But Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan this week said, without providing details, that defense spending would instead reach 1.48% of GDP. An increase of that size could represent close to $2 billion more per year for the military. However, the Department of National Defense told the Canadian press that there are no new investments on the horizon for the Canadian Armed Forces beyond what's already in the Liberals' policy. Instead, Defense Department spokesperson Daniel Leboutillier attributed the change to slower than expected economic growth over the next few years and more spending on non-military specific activities like veterans benefits and the Canadian Coast Guard. The government has included such activities in its calculations since 2017 to try to address complaints from the U.S. and other NATO allies that Canada was not investing enough in its military. NATO approved the change.
Now, there's two basic factors that drive trend economic growth: population growth, productivity growth. Now, global population growth, well, that peaked back in the mid-1960s, and it has been declining ever since that time.
Bank of Canada Governor Stephen Pawles said yesterday the global economy appears set for continued slow growth for mostly structural reasons, and that means low global interest rates are likely to persist too. Speaking to the Empire Club in Toronto, Paul has said slowing population growth is holding back economic growth, and gains in productivity aren't happening fast enough to offset the change.
There's potential for higher productivity growth in the future. Now here I'm referring to what's been called the fourth industrial revolution, the increasing use of artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, big data throughout our economy. But judging from past experience, these productivity gains could be slow to arrive. Companies have cut their investment plans worldwide, which also means less potential economic growth in the future. On balance, then, it looks like the global economy is set for continued slow economic growth. And this is for mostly structural reasons.
Thank you all very much for coming. Well, my friends, good morning, everybody, my friends. Well, we did it. We did it. We pulled it off, didn't we?
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservative Party won a majority in Britain's Parliament. He says the victory gives him a mandate to navigate Britain's exit from the European Union.
And with this mandate and this majority, we will at last be able to do what? You've been paying attention. Because this election means that getting Brexit done is now the irrefutable, irresistible, unarguable decision of the British people. And with this election, I think we've put an end to all those miserable threats of a second referendum.